Is this the new GoPro Max 2? And could it have a secret new killer feature that no other 360 camera has? Wow, this photo raises a lot of questions. Like, is it real? Is it from a reliable source? When can we expect this new camera? What does this photo tell us about the possible new features of this new camera? And is it too little too late for GoPro, or does it have a killer feature that could make a huge difference for the action cam industry? We're going to talk about all those in this video. So a few days ago, there was a photo of a new GoPro camera that was posted on Twitter by Quadro News. This new camera looked like it might be a 360 camera. Could this be the GoPro Max 2? Full disclosure, I don't have any insider relationship with GoPro, and this is not a sponsored video, but I did invest like 150 bucks or so in GoPro stock just a few days ago. So there's that quote unquote conflict of interest there. I'm not encouraging you at all to buy into GoPro, okay? I mean, if you look at financials, it looks pretty terrible. But I'll tell you why, for what it's worth, why I invested in it. First of all, is this even reliable? Well, Quadro News is a source that has posted leaks in the past of DJI, a lot of DJI products, and a few Insta360 products. And they've turned out to be accurate. Now, what about GoPro? They've posted before leaks about the Hero 12 that turned out to be accurate. And I went through their posts and I didn't see any posts that turned out to be false. So I think this is a pretty reliable source. Now, it's possible that this camera might be only a prototype, but that's still significant. Let me tell you why. So if you look at the leaked photo, you see these lines there. So these lines, they look like cooling fins, like they look like they're there to radiate heat. This is I think pretty significant because in previous GoPro cameras, they haven't done this before. This might mean that they have something going on that requires a lot of computing power. So hold that thought. Now the second thing we can notice is that the camera position is in the middle. Now that's very different from the GoPro Max. On the GoPro Max, the lenses aren't back to back. Instead, they're offset from each other. Why is that? That's because you can, if you can imagine, this lens has a sensor right here, and this lens has a sensor right there. And if you put the two lenses back to back, this camera would have to be much thicker, like double the thickness right now. And the thicker it is, that means the farther the lenses are apart, and the farther apart the lenses are, the harder it is to get a smooth stitch for a 360 photo or video. So this kind of offset lens design is kind of like a compromise. So by moving the one lens off to the side, they're able to, quote, move them a little bit closer together. But there's a problem with this design. When the camera's close to the object, you can see that there's like a rough stitch. FYI, Insta360 also used to have a design like this. But after that, their next camera was the Insta360 1X, and the 1X didn't use that offset design anymore. Instead, it used the back-to-back design. Now, you might be wondering, if it's back-to-back, won't that make the camera extra thick, just like the Garmin Verb? Well, the secret is that the image is actually bounced off through the middle using prisms and off to the sides. So the sensors are actually on the sides of the camera, not immediately behind the lens. Now, this kind of folded optical path design was first invented by Ricoh Theta and later on has been used by Insta360 and I believe the Xiaomi Mi Sphere and possibly other cameras such as some Candao cameras. So what does this have to do with this new GoPro Max leaked image? Well, if you look at the design, Not only is the lens in the middle, but it looks kind of wide, right? That leads me to think that they did use an optical path and put the sensors rather off to the side, and that's why it looks kind of wide. All right, so when are we going to see this new GoPro Max 2? In their 2024 Q1 earnings call, Nick Woodman, their CEO and founder, said that the next 360 camera would be released late 2024. So they're going to have two product releases this year. There's going to be one which is going to be around September, October, which is going to be their probably like Hero 13 or Hero something. Um, and then after that, there will be another release for this 360 camera that will be late 2024. All right, so GoPro has a new 360 camera late 2024. Big deal, right? But one more thing. I want to talk about GoPro's financials. See, GoPro has been bleeding cash for the last couple of years. Like for several quarters, like I think 8 or 9 out of 10 of the last quarters, they've had like negative cash flow. Like they've used more money than they've generated. And a large part of that is for R&D, research and development. Now check this out. In 2021, uh, they their research and development was $141 million, which was around 12% of their revenue. They used 12% of their revenue for R&D. And in 2022, they spent another $140 million, which was about 13% of their revenue. Now, in 2023, when they were bleeding cash, they didn't cut down on R&D. Instead, they increased it even further to 165 million. It's now 17% of their revenues. And again, I said they're still bleeding cash, but they're going full throttle. In 2024, the first quarter of 2024, they spent 44 million on research and development. That was 28% of their revenue of 155 million. So instead of like cutting back on research and development, they're pouring even more money on this. Now, you might be wondering, why are they spending so much money on research and development? I mean, every year GoPro isn't really known for innovation. Like okay, we got the Hero 11. Sure, it was nice. It's got like this 8x7 sensor. And then the following year, we had the Hero 12, which had like 60 FPS instead of 30 FPS at 5.3K. I mean, those are very incremental. Why are they spending so much money on research and development? And uh, Nick Woodman, I think, gave us a hint about it in their previous earnings call. See, when Nick talked about this delay of the new 360 camera, someone asked, related to your delay in the launch of your new entry-level camera to the third quarter, could you please walk us through what's unfolding behind the scene? What's the main factors causing the delay? When did you realize this delay and how significant it was? And what gives you confidence that all of your other product launches remain on track this year? Notice the question. It was asking about the new entry level camera. No mention of the 360 camera, right? But listen to Nick Woodman's response. The main focus of our 360 product is with any of our products is to launch with the highest quality experience possible. So we're taking more time to get that experience to live up to the brand promise for our customers. And same goes for our entry level product. If you put all the facts together, number one, they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars. On the other hand, they don't have much to show for it in terms of improvements to the GoPro Hero line of products. Now, meanwhile, we have Nick saying that they're spending more time with their 360 camera. So this leads me to think that this R&D money is going to their next 360 camera. And in fact, they might have been building up toward this 360 camera for several years now. Think back to the Hero 11. What was weird about it? It had a 5.3K sensor, but what was unusual about it is that it had a sensor that was 8 by 7. A typical camera sensor has a 4/3 ratio. On the other hand, an 8 by 7 ratio is almost square. This is unusual because most people shoot in a 16 by 9 aspect ratio, and for this format, an 8 by 7 sensor would be at a disadvantage. For example, if you wanted to have a 1080p video, you'd need a 4/3 sensor with a resolution of about 2.76 megapixels. But if you had an 8 by 7 sensor, you'd need a resolution of about 3.23 megapixels to produce a video of the same resolution. On the other hand, an 8 by 7 sensor is better for circular fisheye videos. So if you wanted a circular fisheye video of 1920 by 1920, a 4/3 ratio sensor would need about 4.9 megapixels. But if you had an 8 by 7 sensor, you'd need only 4.2 megapixels to produce a video of the same resolution. Now, hardly anyone posts circular fisheye videos, but they are used for, drumroll please, 360 cameras. Here's the thing. So, see, the Hero 12 sensor in 8 by 7 mode has a resolution of 5312 by 4648. Like the height of the sensor is 4648 pixels. Now, if you put a circular fisheye with 46, this means that if you use a circular fisheye on that sensor, it could be as high as 4648 by 4648. Now, you put one sensor like that in front and another in the back, that means you can get an equirectangular image, a 360 equirectangular image with the resolution of 9296 by 4648. In other words, 9.3K. Now, how does that compare to a camera like, let's say, the Insta360 X4? The X4's resolution is 7680 by 3840. So this 9.3K sensor would have a resolution that is 46% higher than the 8K mode of the Insta360 X4 mode. It uses subpixels that are normally used for storing color to simulate a higher resolution sensor. It will sacrifice a little bit of the color information and in return get more resolution. So in the real world, what this means is that an 8K, so-called 8K mode quad Bayer sensor isn't as high of a resolution as a native 8K sensor. And this isn't even an 8K, just an 8K sensor. This is 9.3K sensor. So this is the real deal. In addition to having high resolution, another possibility is higher frame rate. The Hero 12 sensor has an 8 by 7 mode at 60 FPS at a resolution of up to 3840 by 3360. So again, this means that you can have a fisheye image of 3360 by 3360 or a 360 equirectangular video of 6720 by 3360 at 60 FPS. So how does that compare to the X4? Well, the X4 60 FPS is limited to 5.7K. So once again, this new camera would beat it. Finally, there's the like a slow motion mode, like high frame rate, 120 FPS. So the Hero 12 can shoot 2.7K in 4/3 aspect ratio at 120 FPS with the resolution of 2704 by 2028. So it could be potentially 4056 by 2028 at 120 FPS compared to the Insta360 X4, which does so-called 4K at 100 FPS. So you got higher resolution, higher frame rate, a higher frame rate slow motion mode, and possibly one more thing. See, they've spent so much money, literally hundreds of millions of dollars in development, that I think it could be possibly even more significant than that. Now, my guess is that GoPro has been working on making 360 cameras easier. What's the biggest pain point of 360 cameras? It's that after shooting, you gotta put it in your phone or put it in your computer and then reframe it and then export a reframed video. So I think, here's just pure speculation here, but I think GoPro has been working on automatic in camera reframing. In other words, not just a 360 video that's stitched in camera, but that stitched 360 video would also be reframed automatically. That sounds a little too good to be true. And you might wonder, is there even technology that can make this happen right now? So let me show you something. This is the Insta360 X4. Now check this out. When I turn it on, first of all, this is the 360 video mode, and look at this. I can look around in 360. It's fully stitched. Not only that, but it's stabilized. See, I could turn it no matter which direction I turn it or rotate it. My image there remains upright. And not only that, but even though this is a 360 video, what we're seeing here is like a reframed 360. Like, you could imagine that you would almost just have to crop this out and record it, and you would get a reframed 360 video. And all of this is happening in the camera. I'm not connected to a phone or a PC. So this leads me to think that it is, in fact, possible to have automatic in-camera reframing with current technology. I think that's what GoPro might be working on. Again, that's pure speculation here. I have no idea, but we'll see. I mean, they've spent literally hundreds of millions of dollars in research. Hopefully, they've solved it. Let me know what you think. I'll see you in 360.